We're
when are we going to sign?
and usually those things
we're
that
going
are
to say,
we have great things.
in some cases, we want to open up the
Is this therefore more psychological in a way to send out a message to Pakistan?
We will sign some deal.
Well, yes, Rajdeep, definitely it is a psychological messaging as well, because what we're seeing right now is a kind of fog of war that's being created by our side, by the Indian side, to create this climate of unpredictability where Pakistan doesn't know whether definitely it is whether it's psychological messaging as well, because what we're seeing right now is a kind of fog of war that's being created by the citizens.
Biden, a very good source. No, they don't want to be. They don't want to be. If you didn't have. Sort of thought that would happen. No, behind you, if you didn't go with Biden, a very good source. They don't want to be. They don't want to be. If you didn't have, possible to have sort of people, the companies actually. Behind you, nobody can get these people to do it. Very good source. I mean, they don't want to be. They don't want to be. Behind nobody can get these people to do it. I mean, they don't want to be. They don't want to be. That relationship pretty much. And I don't like that happening because it's great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust it or terminate it. To be very politically correct.
I'll just say
good, hard,
word on
tough,
USMCA
mean construction workers that I love, Marco. I love those construction workers. But he didn't want construction workers. He wanted people that never did it before, and he's got a disaster in his hands. Like millions of dollars, many. I mean, really many millions of dollars over budget. And I would love to help but it was not built in a professional manner. By the way, nor was in California a little train going from San Francisco. Well, we don't do much business with being run by Gavin Newsom.
They do a lot of business with us.
The governor of California.
We're at like 4%.
Worst cost overrun that train is the worst cost overrun
totally
out of control. So then they said, all right, we won't go into San Francisco. So then they said, all right, we won't go into San Francisco. We won't go into Los Angeles. We'll stop 25 miles. And we won't go into Los Angeles. We'll stop 25 miles. Hundreds of billions of dollars for this stupid project that should have never been built. Stupid. And then they realized that it would have been built a lot less costly. And then they realized that a limousine service a lot less costly if we just gave a limousine service hundreds of billions and gave it free. They would have They have airplanes that go there for $1. They have airplanes that go there for one. They have cars. One hundred called the highway that goes back and forth. And they have cars. They have a thing called the highway that goes back and forth. And they got involved with this project. And Gavin, and they got involved with this project. Had a good relationship with him. I always liked Gavin. I just got him a lot of water. With him. I sent in people to open up that water because he refused to do it. People to open up that water because he refused to do it. They would have had that water, and if they would have done what I said to do, they wouldn't have the fires. If they would have done what I said to do, they wouldn't have the fires very quickly in Los Angeles. Those fires would have been put out very quickly. You got to take a look at this. It's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of stupid people. It's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of stupid people. Cost overrun I've ever seen, but what's happening between San Francisco and I've ever seen. What's happening between San Francisco because this government is not going to pay. I told because this government is not going to pay. I told Secretary of Transportation is doing a good job. Sean Duffy, new Secretary of Transportation, is doing a good job. We're not going to pay for that thing. They are just. It's out of control. Pay for that thing. They are just something. It's out of control. You don't have. This is something that it's not even. You don't have things like this. Like it. 30 times. We're going to work on some subtle changes. Maybe we're going to work on some. We're going to be dealing with USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts. Look, right now we're dealing more with trade. We have trade. Look, right now they're paying a tariff on cars and steel and aluminum. They're paying a tariff on cars. I think we have a baseline of 10% or something like that. And I think we have a baseline of 10% or something like that. We're getting along very well. Right now we're going no further. We have right now going no further. But we have an agreement. We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard? We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard? With respect to Canada, which helps Canada.
Car companies that 15% of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts, and then 15% of manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing are not really thrive. Domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So we gave them a chance to be able to build their factories if they're car parts. A lot of these companies already have factories. A lot of these have to do is just companies already have factories. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time. This is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time.
Yeah, if I may. Canadians' view on this respectfully is not going to change. Canadians' view on this is not going to change. We are the largest client of the United States. Secondly, we are the largest client in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client in the totality of all the goods. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else. And to your question about is there one thing. And to your question about is there one thing, there are much bigger forces involved. Discussion. There are much bigger forces involved. And this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why and this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here. Is represented by who's sitting around.
See, the conflict is, and this is. See, the conflict is, and this is not going to be like we had another little blow up. This is not going to be like much different. We had another little blow up. This is a very friendly conversation. This is a very friendly conversation. We don't really want cars from Canada. We want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada. We put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, tariffs on cars it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. It won't make economic sense. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel. And we don't want steel from Canada. Massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. Massive steel plants being built right now as Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum, Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian because we want to be able to do various other things. Because we want to be able to do it ourselves, past thinking because of we have an tremendous deficit with Canada. We have a tremendous deficit. They have a surplus with us. In other words, and there's no reason they have a surplus with us. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very substantive. Thank you.